I will quickly do a mic. Alright, you're back here. I hope I'm audible. I haven't done a mic test, so I'm just waiting for everyone to go. Is the lobby stuck? I don't know. Am I audible? I don't know. I think I'm fine. Hello everyone. Just a bit late on the commentary side. Just had some issues finding a commentator as we already have a migrating host message. Lights are off. Sid Venkatesh has disconnected unfortunately, and it's away we go. Very shocking start from, well, everyone except the Mercedes driver, and the name tags have disappeared. I really don't know who's where, so we'll just keep a blind eye on someone. Who am I on? I think we are on the Alpine. Elsewhere behind there is a collision. The Ferrari is off, and I think people are retiring, or did they just crash out and retired? I believe people are just crashing out on purpose. Maybe the lobby is restarting. I really have no clue as I cannot get the menu up. Yep, people are crashing on purpose. So I think this calls for a lobby restart. Something I need to confirm on the Discord. I think it's a glitch lobby. Let me just... Yeah, the game is pausing, but I cannot get the hood up. Yeah, I think it's pretty much a restart. So, yeah, we haven't missed much. We were able to join the lobby in time, but didn't miss much. So I think we'll just wait for lobby to restart. Hello, Arjun. 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 You sound like, or rather you're acting like penguins from Madagascar with so many repeated messages, if you know what I mean. I think everyone's retiring from the session, so that calls for a restart of the lobby. And that's what it's going to be. People with front wing damage. Where is everyone? I have no idea. Sid Venkatesh is AI is leading the race, and boom, well done. Okay, I think we need to quit this session. We'll just go back and hope for the lobby to restart. Wait, what? Okay, it won't even let me leave the lobby for some reason. Yeah, can someone, whoever is making the lobby, just invite me to the new session so I can possibly leave this. Looks like I'm stuck in the lobby. Whoever is in the Williams is still driving. Who's this guy? Yeah, that's Pradeep. Does Pradeep know that no one's racing here? Yeah, I think he's the only one in the session besides I am. Yeah, only two drivers, the Haas and the Williams. So let's just wait for the new lobby to load up, and once that's done, we can have it is. Yeah, there they go. Got the invitation. Let's. Hello, Malav. It's the one and only MYFC. दुबई निकल तू. Hello everyone, and back to a second attempt to get this lobby restarted, or rather have the race restarted. One thing I did notice is the weather was set at custom, so I probably think the rain is expected towards the midpoint or the end of the race, which is interesting. We completely missed the quali. Apologies for that, and obviously for the lobby restart because the game decided to not start. But anyways, let's hope we're able to start this time around. And for the first time this season, I am taking the comms role. This is Caesar for someone who is tuning in for the first time and haven't heard my voice at all. So let's hope this turns out to be cracker of a race. Season so far has been pretty close between the top three drivers, I would say, in Captain Sandhu Abhishek and Sid Venkatesh. Sandhu, who has won just once in the entirety of this season so far, as I think Sid Venkatesh is still stuck as the lobby is still waiting for him. Sid Venkatesh, who is third in the standing, has had 2 wins. His first ever IRL win coming in Spa, and he followed that up with another one in Japan. So these 3 drivers looking to win the Division 2 Season 8 title, and I think with the connection that Sid has right now, his chances of racing looks very bleak. I believe last time as well, he was the one who was unable to get the lobby started, and I think it's the same driver once again. Let me just have a look at the Discord. Sid Venkatesh has left. That's good, but I think I saw Pradeep leave as well. Not sure why Pradeep left. He didn't have to. Let me just get the guy back in. Yes, so let's go back to the stream. Any comments worth reading? Malavs can be ignored. Nothing interesting there. Avi has joined back. I just noticed, so he must have left as well, or maybe he's just joining in midway through the race. Hello Jishnu, hello Chips, hello Malav, of course. Hello Ethan, Azun, Kaching Lee, and Sanjeev for tuning in. Just waiting for players to load. I hope this lobby loads immediately. This game has been shocking since the day it has launched, and it doesn't seem to improve one bit, and I think that's what the case is. Yes, Malav, I think it's glitched again for some reason. Yes, I think so. Is it glitched? Man, I hope it's not. Alright, I think we just wait for a moment. While we wait for the lobby to start, of course, Malav. Speaking of roasting, let's save it for some other time. Anyways, Drivers' Championship, top 3, as I was saying, top 3 separated by 36 points. And Captain Sandhu is leading, even though he has just 1 victory to his name. I think the consistent podium that he's been getting has allowed him to keep the lead of the championship by 9 points from Abhishek, who's on a roll here with 2 back-to-back wins in France and the Circuit of the Americas. Can he get a hat-trick in Mexico? I believe you already have a hat-trick this season, not in Division 2, but in Division 2, courtesy Vfix, who had back-to-back victories in Spa, Netherlands, and Monza, as we have Formation Lap, finally. No idea how it started working, but it did. In the chat, hello Sai, and yes, keep the banter going. Let's have a look at the tire choices for the drivers. Medium throughout from P1 to P8, a low medium, a hard rather, and P9 for sit. Is he back in the lobby? No, he's not. Mosquito, ace on hard, medium again on standard, who's making his official IRL debut as a full-time driver in the Lucky 13. Vasam, reserve tonight, is the only one on top. Arnab Goswami, Pradeep, who has not joined the lobby yet, Abhi, and Wicket Vicky on the hard, as well as Shrikant Das has left the session, and migrating host Ace has left the session, so people are leaving sessions. Again, yeah, a lot of people are, so I think this has been a restart. Yeah, it is. It is a restart, so maybe third time lucky. Yeah, one thing that I've noticed this season is Redstone. I mean, we've had a lot of McLaren poles. Let me just confirm how many poles. Not a lot, but four poles out of 12 previous races. This will be the fifth one, and I don't think has McLaren won from pole this season. I am really not sure. Redstone has 2 wins to his name, but I don't think they came from pole. I mean, I think everyone has left the session except Oxidize. Yeah, Oxidize is the only one who hasn't left the session, so let's just wait for him to leave and for us to get an invite. Let's just go back to the main menu. No point sitting here.
Returning to Formula One in 2010 as a works team, Mercedes have become one of the most successful teams in recent history. They've won 7 Drivers' Championships and taken home the Constructors' Championship in each of the last 8 seasons. Prior to that, Mercedes were the engine supplier for the Brackley-based 2009 Constructors' Champions Brawn GP. This was their way back into Formula One as their parent company Daimler purchased a stake in the team for the 2010 season. The team was then rebranded to Mercedes and have raced under the world-famous German marque ever since, creating history along the way. Red Bull made their constructors' debut in Formula One in 2005. Since then, they've become incredibly successful. They've won 4 Constructors' Championships and 5 Drivers' Championships, with their most recent Drivers' Championship coming after a fierce, season-long battle between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton during the 2021 season. After more than 60 years away from Formula One, Aston Martin returned to Grand Prix racing in 2021. With one of the most iconic emblems in the world emblazoned above the garages and a team of over 450 passionate men and women at its heart, this is a team with a rich heritage. They'll be looking to build on last season's performance and compete at the sharp end. Debuting in 1977, Williams are one of the most famous and well-recognised teams in motorsport. They started out as a very small single-car team in the 70s and made their way to a position of absolute dominance through parts of the 90s. In that time, Williams have had some of the most famous and accomplished drivers of all time in the driver's seat, including Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill, Jenson Button and, of course, the late great Ayrton Senna. Williams have partnered with multiple engine manufacturers over the years, with the most successful by far being Renault in the 1990s, with whom they would win multiple championships. In total, Williams have had a long and very successful history in the sport, with over 100 Formula One race wins to their name.
Right, so everyone's in. Hopefully, third time lucky, we should be able to get the lobby started. I believe I should have a co-commentator with me in some time, but priority, get the race started. It's been over an hour. We are only done with the qualifying. Ideally, we should have been done with the race as well. So, fingers crossed, we should be up and running, hopefully. Right, where is the... Okay, Sid Venkatesh seems to have loaded, an issue that we faced a couple of times previously. Okay, I think this lobby should work. Everyone has loaded in perfectly, so there shouldn't be any issue. We wait for drivers to load their setups, mix up their strategies. The weather, of course, is custom. I can see clouds in the background, so we will expect some rain. So in the previous lobby, we did see a lot of drivers on the mixed strategy, of course, but there were a few hard runners up in the front as well. Malav, you can just shh. Although it's Mexico, so turn one, going into turn one, into turn two, there will be lack of space, and everyone wants to get in front as much as possible. Overtaking on this track, besides the main straight, is very, very difficult. So drivers in the front will be hoping for the rain to come as soon as possible, so that the DRS advantage is no more, and hope that in the rain they're able to stay in the front. So let's just wait. With 6 seconds to go on the clock, we should have the formation lap very soon. Once again, we did miss the quali. That's not in the stream, but I think the stream started over half an hour back, and finally we have... Let's get this up, and it's pretty much the same. Top 8 on the mediums, Sid on the hards, then Vintage on the mediums, couple of hard runners, and Spandan on mediums, Rasam once again on the softs, and the remaining 4 on the hards. So very much the similar strategy as we had in the previous session before the restart happened. And so far everything looks perfect. Speaking of pole positions, we have McLaren of Redstone on pole. He already scored 3 poles in the past, so this is his 4th pole of this season. Starting right behind him is Abhishek, who's second not only in tonight's race but also in the championship standings. He is trailing Captain Sandhu by 9 points, who is starting right behind him in P3. So for the Mercedes, this driver's sake, he would be hoping to get a better launch, and if not, he would look for the slipstream. Mexico, not the best track to be on the pole or be on the front row of the grid, as turn 1 is quite a long way ahead. So cars will definitely be slipstreaming. Cars in the front will be using all of their ERS or as much as possible to stay in the front and going into the lead into the first 3 corners of the track. But then again, drivers in the midfield will have to be very, very cautious. Constructor-wise, Ferrari did overtake Haas last week. After last week's result, they lead Haas by 10 points, so difference is not much. Top 4 are separated by 65 points, so we have a constructor battle in our hands. By the way, Ferrari is leading the championship for the first time after 12 races. I think majority of us expected Ferrari to lead much earlier than that, but consistency from the Haas driver is definitely paying off, obviously being led by Sid Venkatesh. First time winner this season, Sid Venkatesh, and he's starting down in P9, but he is on the alternate strategy, so this could come in handy. But then again, the skies looks overcast and the rains are expected, so this should be an interesting race. For Sid's sake, or rather I should say for the hard runner's sake, they would want to come out of lap 1 clean with their wings intact. McLaren's of Redstone, of guys who haven't had the best of race starts when starting from pole, always getting involved in some incidents of crashing out themselves. So for their sake, they would be hoping to get a good launch as we wait for Wicked Wiki and Abhi to load up on the grid. As lights go out, we stay on board with Captain Sandhu, who'll be looking to get a good launch, and I think Ferrari of Abhishek got a better one. But on the second one, I think Mercedes driver got the best launch out of the top three, but he's out of room as Redstone has defended pretty well. And going to turn one, it looks like the McLaren will have the edge going into turn one. And as everyone stays pretty clean, he goes a bit deep, Mercedes driver, and I think the McLaren and the Alpha Tauri of Smith has taken full advantage. Captain Sandhu has dropped down a position. Meanwhile, further back, there's a battle between the Alpine of Raman and Oxidized, giving all the space, but I think Oxidized will, with the inside line, should keep it. A bit of argy-bargy, but Alpine driver stays ahead. Further down, everything looks straight. Has boys of Sid and Rasam are together. Smith has fallen down the order. He has had a moment, and from P3 on the grid, he has fallen down. Any visual damage on his front wing doesn't look like he is letting everyone through. Vintage player has already DNF from the race, and that calls for a safety car or a virtual safety car. Let me just get this up, not this. But it's a safety car. Smith from P3. Yep, he has to be definitely a biggest loser so far in the lap one. Position-wise as well, still starting P4 on the second row. Gaining a position, but something happened which we obviously missed, and he's down in P16. But luckily for him, the safety car is out. Oxidized is in the pit, so he surely must have had some damage. Alpine of Raman gaining 5 positions, and Hershey with 3 positions to boot. Captain Sandhu, who's leading the championship, he has lost a couple of positions, but as long as his wing is intact, I don't think he'll be complaining too much. Sid Venkatesh, after losing a position, he's up a position into P8. His teammate, who is a reserve on soft, Rasam, he is in P9. So it will be interesting to see if any team orders come into play. Wicked Vicky, Ace, Oxidized, all of them pitting in at the end of lap 1, and obviously biggest loser in terms of positions, and the advantage that was gained is Smith in the Alpha Tauri down in P14. Top 2 must be pretty pleased with that. Abhishek, who is trailing Captain Sandhu by 9 points in championship standing, is into P2, and he will be pretty pleased with that start as well, not losing anything, and everything is intact on his car. Safety car obviously will stay out for possibly another lap, as Alfa Romeo of Ace has almost caught up to the back of the pack, so safety car should be in at the end of the next lap. Unlucky for Vintage player in the Red Bull, who DNF'd on lap 1. Vintage player who hasn't had the best of the season so far. He did score a podium, I believe it was Spa, but since then it has been not so good season. I mean, the driver is capable of much more than that, but not a good season so far. Not just for him, but for the Red Bull as well, who are 9th in the standings. So interesting. Redstone and his teammate down in P15. McLaren, who in the constructors are in P5, but they are 120 points behind the race. Not race, but the season. Constructor front runners, who are obviously Thakurva and Abhishek. So far, constructors wise, Ferrari looks good, and they at the moment look to increase that advantage even more, as both the Ferraris are in front of the Haas. So let's just wait, as more people have pitted. Smith, Ace, Oxidized, and Wicked Vicky. Smith has managed to get himself a time penalty. What is this about? Let's have a look. It should be here, sorry. 5 seconds, so he has definitely spread into the pit. So to talk about Jale pe namak and rubbing salt into the wounds, as you say. 5 seconds added to Smith after a not so good start for this race. The number of pit stops, Ace, Oxidize and Wicked Wiki have already made a couple of pit stops. Oxidize deciding to pit and box again for the set of medium. So he has decided that rain will come sooner than what was expected because of this safety car. Will the safety car be in this lap because the driver behind have not yet caught up? I believe this will stay up for one more lap, yes. Courtesy of the drivers boxing at the back. Easy Level has joined, so I expect him to join the party chat as a co-commentator. Which is always good. Oh, that's a safety car in. That's a very, very late message to pop up, but this is something that the game usually does. So I think with the game giving that message so late, I think we shouldn't see too many incidents in the front. As Redstone has gone, obviously, as Rahman is attacking the Ferrari, and you can see both of them are using their ERS to gain the advantage. But I think with the inside line going into turn one, Alpine driver will have all the advantage. Ferrari is getting some 16, but I don't think anything can be done. But yes, with that corner going inside, but again going for the outside, Ferrari driving, keeping his foot planted and defending that P2. But in the meantime, no, I don't think the Aston Martin had any advantage. But again, side by side, going into turn 4, if I'm not wrong, getting that inside line to that turn. Oh, and Aston Martin watching it from the back, but he decided against taking any advantage of that, and that's Rahman up into P2. So Abhishek, maybe he's playing the patience game here, trying not to lose a wing. He is willing to lose a position. Because of that. Smith, once again, he is just noticed that he is 33 seconds behind. So did he make another pit stop? Did he had a spin? Something has happened, and Smith's race is not going as well as he would have hoped. And there's a side-by-side battle still going on. Alpine driver is already out of his ERS, so this is not a good sign. Let's see on his wheel. Yes, he is definitely very, very low on his ERS. As Gaurav is in the party chat. Hello, Gaurav. How are you? As we still can't hear him. I don't think he can hear us as well. But anyways, Redstone taking full advantage of the battle for the P2. He is bolted away with a 3.5 second gap, and Hershey with his ERS, and obviously Rahman with no ERS in his tank will find it very hard to stay in the front once the DRS is active. Further back, Haas team, there is no team order at the moment, even with the soft tires on Russell's Haas. He cannot go ahead, or maybe they're in the same party and he's been instructed to hold his positions, reminiscent of the Mercedes era of Bottas and Lewis. We've all seen how that worked out. Sid Venkatesh, let's not forget, he is in the title hunt. He is P3 in the championship table, around 36 points behind. So yes, for his sake, he will need to score as many points as possible further up the field. Hershey is still right on Rahman's tail. Redstone taking full advantage of Rahman's lack of pace, and he's extended that gap by a second since the last time we mentioned that, and he's up by 4.5 seconds. And I think this is the lap where Hershey will be taking that P2 away from Rahman. Redstone setting the fastest lap with the 120.1, and I think at the end of this straight, Hershey should take. Oh, he's out of his ERS as well, so this is interesting. In a bit, you can see on his wheel, he is definitely out of it. Further back, Abhi is making a move on the Alpine. They are going side by side, and I think this move, is it done? No, he has the inside line to turn on the Alpine driver, but Red Bull will decide to stick it out. Turns it to the inside line, but then again goes on the outside. Enough space given for both the drivers, and Alpine has kept his position intact into P11. Abhi rounding off the final point swing position. Will Ace send it down the inside?
Yeah.
Hello.
And I was.
Hello, were you speaking on mute?
I just didn't want to interrupt. No, I wasn't speaking. This was the first time I am speaking because I didn't want to interrupt your commentary. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. I hope you're audible on the stream as well.
Yes, I am hopeful that is the case, but interesting 5-6 laps. We already had a safety car. I missed a bit of it, and Abhishek's also one of the championship leaders has just come out of the pits on a set of hard tires, so he's not having a great race.
Oh yeah, this is something that I totally missed while watching the battle elsewhere. Yes, Abhishek has pitted, so this has not worked at all.
Oh,
Abhishek,
and
who's
there's a yellow flag for Rasam on those softs.
so
Uh,
he crashed in the final corner.
yep, go ahead. You were talking about Abhishek.
Yes, so Abhishek, who's trailing the championship leader Sandhu by 9 points. This is not good for him. Ace, meanwhile, going for the move on Abhi. It's a three-way battle for P11 between Ace, Abhi, and Oxidize, and
Oh,
Abhi
and
losing out.
yep, slight bit of contact, I believe, there. And Oxidize was eager to make that position. He had his car at the right place and probably would look to move up further as Rasam is in the pits. That's not an overtake per se. But the battle for P3 is pretty close, right? The drivers right from P3 to P6 are fairly pretty close to each other, and there's a lot of difference in setups that these drivers might also be having, some compromising the straight line speed for higher downforce. But what is your preference, Caesar, around this track?
It's a very tricky thing. To be honest, the last proper F1 I played was F1 2020, and in that game, I remember very well that I used to run a very high downforce. Yes, it has a very long main straight, but it really just compensated in sector 2 and 3. But in this game, what I've noticed is drivers can get away while running a lower setup, somewhere in the range of 15, 16 front wing and a slightly lower wing.
Yep, and
So
meanwhile, Hershey has pulled a move on Raman for P2 right there.
yeah, but one thing I'm noticing is drivers are already out of ERS. I mean, Redstone is already bolted into the lead. I don't think he's being caught up anytime soon unless the safety comes in. But I see a lot of flashing red lights at the back of these cars. So not very easy to regenerate the ERS. And also drivers are using quite a lot of it. So maybe that's not going to help them much.
Yep, that long start finish straight does entice the drivers to
Captain
deploy as much power as they can, as Captain Sandhu
He
has
has
left the
left
session.
the session. Okay, this is another twist in the championship fight. Abhishek must be very happy seeing
Oh,
a ghosted Mercedes.
and there's a yellow flag
That's for
for
Rasam.
a Haas.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Rasam.
that's Rasam, right?
Yeah, but this is not a good news for Sandhu, who would have looked to extend his championship lead by quite a bit. He has disconnected, so he will be looking forward to join this as soon as possible. Further up, battle for P2 still continues, and I think that's the only closest battle that we have on the track right now. Besides, obviously, battle for P5, Takova already has a penalty, so Sid won't complain, as who is P3 in the standings.
Yep, and probably this train just broke off in the last few laps. These drivers were fairly pretty close to each other, and there's a big gap between Spandan and Raman now. And all of this is good news for Sid Venkatesh, P3 in the championship standings, as you were mentioning earlier. And his top two not finishing or not getting any points would just be good news for him.
Yes, and one thing I noticed, and obviously you must have noticed as well, that it's quite overcast. I did notice in the lobby that it's a custom weather, so I am, let's say, 99% sure that rain is expected. Drivers starting on the mediums, I don't know how long they can extend, as I'm yet to drive on this track in this game. But if you have, what's the medium tire looking like here?
I think 14 to 15 laps probably. That's 21 to 15, 21 plus 15 split between the hards and mediums, I believe. Anything more than that is just draining the life out of these tires, because I mean this track demands a lot of tire management, and the tires can degrade pretty quickly here. So probably the hard runners might just be on an advantage if rain is to kick in. I mean, if rain is still at least 10 laps away, but if it is coming sooner, which I believe it might just come sooner, as there's a... Oh, Captain Sandhu might have just gotten the AI control back at a very wrong moment, mid-corner that is. but he's under pressure from Ace, who goes down the inside but overshoots the corner, and the Williams of Fabi has to take avoiding action over there. So
Yeah, I
he's
mean, the
just getting a
game.
bit too.
I think he just let him through. But yes, as you
Yep.
said, Captain Sandhu getting the control at the very wrong place. The game is quite well known for that. So not surprised.
Yep, and it was probably Pradeep and not Abhi who had to take avoiding action. But Wicket Vicky is also right at the back gearbox of GRL Mosquito,
It looks like that this should be a
and
move.
Ramin is not really causing any problems to Hershey, but is sticking to his DRS, so that will help him pull away from Spandan and Thakurva, who are also pretty much maintaining the same gap as Oxidize makes a move on Shrikant Das.
Yeah, for the back, Ace is looking to get that last point in position, but I don't think he's close enough to challenge that at the moment. As Hershey gets up a time penalty.
And Wicked Vicky and Deadly Mosquito side by side. Oh, that's a beautiful helicopter shot that the game is giving me right now. I don't know
Sadly,
how
not
it
for me.
is for
Oh,
you.
now I get a helicopter shot once that move is done. As Abdul Samad is in the chat, I'm surprised his electricity has not been disconnected yet. But it should be anytime soon, Samad. So we all believe in the Bijli Vibhag. But yes, I mean, quite interesting battles here between Wicked Wiki, Mosquito, Hershey, and Rahman. Rahman, if I were Rahman, I mean, seeing that Hershey has a time penalty next to his name, I think I will just stick behind him, preserve my Yaris, knowing that, I mean, Redstone is way out of the reach. Now, as Oxidized Rage has had. Oh my god, he spun just before the final corner. Caught in 4K, and yes, the McLaren curse continues. Not for Redstone so far, who has started the race on pole, and he's looking to at least convert that pole into a win. Weather-wise, I don't see any droplets.
Yep, I mean it's still not as dark, especially right now. I'm driving on board with Redstone, and the middle sector looks fairly bright. But yeah, the game can tend to change the weather very soon, and we still have 2/3 of the race to go. So
Yes, and fastest lap right now is being held by Oxidize with a 19.17. In fact, he's the only driver in the 119, so I think his setup is quite aggressive, and I think that's what's burning his tire more. Maybe that's why he had a spin. I don't know, but I mean, it's just a wild guess. I mean, yeah, he's the only one in the 19, so that explains quite a lot. But I don't think anyone else needs to worry too much about it.
yep, and I'm assuming we are pretty much at that crossover of those mediums and hards. Both the tires might just be giving somewhat similar pace.
Yes, as Wicket Wiki is right behind Sid Venkatesh, and this should be, oh, that's quite some defensive weaving from our championship contender at the moment, and this should be an easy move, and I don't think Sid Venkatesh is going to fight that too hard. Oh, he is actually trying to stick it out the
Around
outside.
the outside, which breaks the inside, but he has to yield.
No, he's gone.
Wicket
Wiki trying to keep in P6. He has blown it, and he's right in front of another driver who spun in a similar fashion before the final corner, and Oxidized up into P9. So Wicket Wiki's race that was going so well down in P10.
Yep, still can get his head back and hopefully have a good race, a good rest of the race rather, because he was really looking good and poised. He raced another, and there is a yellow flag as Shrikant Das has retired at the SS.
That's a safety car. Safety car is out.
Car. Yep.
This could be perfect. This could be perfect for Redstone. I mean, if rain is coming, he can box for maybe. I don't know when rain is coming though, but maybe he can box or soft. If they can last for another 6-7 laps, maybe. I don't think 6. I think 5-6 laps is the right number. Let's look at the pit entry. If we can catch someone cutting the pit lane entry, that's fine from Oxidized. Wicket Wiki stayed out. That's fine from Sandhu.
Yep.
That's very marginal from Pradeep.
Borderline from Pradeep. Yep.
Yes.
Ace stays
Agreed.
out.
All right. As well, I think hard runners. I mean, Redstone has stayed out, so that's very, very interesting. He said Venkatesh.
So he thinks that
Yeah, he can manage that in mediums. I think he's trusting
Smith
his
and
pace
Abhishek and
more.
Rasam, I think all of them will stay out.
Yeah, I think
Redstone?
hard.
Yep.
Yeah, hard. I think Redstone is trusting his pace rather than his tires at the moment. Judging by the early pace so far, I think Redstone thinks that he'll be able to hold the drivers behind him at bay until the rain comes. I think that even confirms our theory that rain is definitely going to come, as Redstone is going to stick
Yep.
this out.
Oh, what is the safety car doing there? Hasn't he caught up? Oh, but Redstone boxes now.
Redstone has box. Oh, I think he must have crossed the
Oh,
pit
yeah, he
lane
must have
by the time.
been. All the drivers must be driving under the delta.
All right,
But
yeah,
now,
he'll come out
I
in
don't
front.
know if.
He'll come out in front.
Yep, now I don't know. Maybe it is just overcast and no rain at all. Maybe because I mean it's early for the hard runners to pit, even if it is a dry race or whatever conditions they are. And they haven't pit, they continued. And the medium runners have gone on to a fresh set of hards.
Yeah, so
So,
I mean, Redstone wouldn't complain now. He is back in the lead. But
yep,
we have seen Redstone win the race at the safety car
safety car
restart from
restart.
the lead. Everyone remembers that race. This was last season, right? At Austria. I know it was Austria because I have been at the
Yep,
restart myself, so I know how that feels. Noah will be very happy
yep.
hearing that.
I remember Austria, but there certainly are a lot of other races as well. Is there a drive-through penalty for
For
Rassam?
Rassam, oh, okay. I don't
Not the
think
best of
Sid
the
will
races.
mind that, being Rassam being a reserve at the moment. So far, I mean,
Yeah.
let me check who else is a reserve tonight besides Rassam, because drivers have behaved themselves. I mean, majorly so far. Vintage obviously
I think
got involved.
Spandan is the other driver.
No, Spandan is a full-time driver in Mercedes. It was
Oh,
announced
yep. Oh,
today
yep.
before the
Yep.
race. So
Yep.
Rassam is the
Right.
only guy who's reserving. So not really sure what happened with Vintage because he DNF'd on lap one. But besides that, I think it's been a pretty clean race so far.
Yep, the drivers being mindful. I mean, they're realizing it's not a one lap dash, but a long 36 lap race. And as you said, I mean, as much as this safety car would recharge their batteries, but their battery deployment is way too aggressive, especially for this track where recovery is also very difficult.
That's true. This track, obviously, I mean, I was able to see that by the end of lap two, Rahman was already out of ERS. And so was Hershey, I believe, who was fighting him back then. So, yeah, ERS regeneration or harvesting, that's the word. ERS harvesting is
Hmm.
very, very challenging. It reminds me of Zandvoort, where it's a similar case. Even though there are a
Yeah.
lot of braking zones, the harvesting is not that easy. So, yes, that's the biggest asset you can have on tracks like these. Would you suggest to these drivers to rather let's say you are under attack from a driver who's using ZRS? Would you defend from him or rather let him go and just wait for your moment?
I would let him go. I would let him go and wait for a moment. I mean, I typically what I do is I look at the deltas of the drivers either behind or up front and see where I'm gaining on them or where I'm losing on them and try to, and if they are being aggressive and want to make a move, they can rather make a move if I believe I can come back at them at a later point in the race.
That's a very smart thing to do,
I mean,
and I will second that.
yeah, once you've lost the battery, then there is certain kind of deployment in medium ARS as well, and then you lose out a bit on that also if you go under 10%. So it's a very tricky situation to be in, and safety car, I believe, is in this
Yes,
lap.
speaking of tricky, and I'll let you take this restart. Speaking of tricky, Redstone in the lead. leading the pack. Could be tricky for him. So take away.
Yep, I'll go on board with right now Sid Venkatesh and see when he decides to pounce, which is Redstone. As Redstone is so gets a bit squirrely at the exit of the final corner, but has managed his car straight right there as a pretty neat and clean safety car restart. But Hershey has had some tremendous reactions to GRL Mosquito, who's lost a couple of positions to both Ramen and Hershey. Now, is it going to be three wide? Ramen peeks down the inside, wheel rubbing between the two drivers, but still hopefully nothing lost for any of them, as they can now continue, as there are a lot of drivers exchanging positions as Wicked Vicky and Spandan the Gamer, or rather GRL Mosquito and Wicked Vicky around the outside of GRL Mosquito. He's not had the best of safety car restart as he's been tapped by the Mercedes of Spandan the Gamer, and there is a mess that's gone on behind. Oh my god, GRL Mosquito has he beached himself on the curb? No, hopefully not. But not the best couple of corners there for GRL Mosquito from P4 or P3. He sees himself right at the bottom of the grid, as now we come towards the end of the first lap. 2 laps after the safety car restart, 2 laps still to go, another lap to go before we see the DRS. But Redstone Derp has pulled away 2.5 seconds from Sid Venkatesh, who is going to come under attack from Hershey, and I'm sure there'll be a heavy battery deployment as all the drivers, and Hershey's red light is flashing already. So is Ramen. What does Sid do? Sid still defends his position there. Ramen goes again on the inside. Hershey just gives him just about enough space, and still Ramen Hershey lives to fight another day right there, but he would be really looking to make a move on Sid Venkatesh, but I'd be worried with those low battery levels, as both the Alpine of Wicked Vicky has also joined the battle, and Spandan the Gamer, Smith Shah has had a moment of oversteer there, as this latter half of the pack is also, whoa, I don't know if you were on board with Spandan the Gamer, but he just obliterates that corner out of that hairpin. Now retains the position on ace right now, but this is a tricky battle that's going to go on behind, as Smith Shah has had another major moment. That's contact between URL Pradeep and Rasam, and URL Pradeep has been tapped, and the Ferrari of Abhishek also wants to get interested there. Caesar, all over to you until I catch my breath again.
Yeah, it's been quite a messed up start, to be honest. I mean, a lot of position changes, a lot of contacts, a lot of spins going on around the field. Hershey, yes, obviously he's out of ERS. He's lost a lot. What a collision between Sid Venkatesh and Hershey. Both of them making collision on the exit of turn 1, going into turn 2. Both have lost multiple positions, but more so worse for Sid Venkatesh, who is, let's not forget, a championship contender here. All of them out of the battery that I see here, and that has been caught. And stewards will have a very, very good weekend coming ahead, as the safety car restart race since then has not been the cleanest as we were expecting it to be. Further elsewhere, Smith losing positions due to collision, Abhi losing position due to collision, Rasam losing position due to collision. A lot of positions being exchanged, and as you said, Redstone has pulled up a lead of 7 seconds once again. He is showing really good pace here, and Mexico seems to be suiting him, or his driving style rather, really well. Up the field, Rahman is right behind his teammate Wicked Vicky, within his DRS range, keeping Thakurwa at bay. Abhishek, who is a championship contender himself, is down in P9. Captain Sandhu, championship leader, is down in P10. So Captain Sandhu, Abhishek, Sid Venkatesh, our 3 championship.
Safety car.
Oh, I wonder who caused that safety car. I think that's the Haas. It could be the Haas of Rasam.
Yep.
And that was very weird. So yes, the championship rivals in P8, P9, and now in P12, as it has made his pit stop. So interesting race this is. I mean, it's swinging quite a lot.
Yep, up and down. And this might just be a good time for those hard runners to box. So any strategy advantage they might have got, the medium runners might have gotten out of the first safety car is all gone.
That is, Redstone won't be happy with this as Rasam has decided to retire from the session in the pits. Luckily for him, and yes, Wicked Wiki. I'm very sure Wicked Wiki has to lose. And yes, Mala, we all are waiting for the rain. That looks to be approaching, but not here yet. Further down the field, obviously there will be no position changes.
Oh, okay, okay.
Have I missed something?
No, no, no. I was spectating a retired car, so
All right,
I was
Redstone
like,
going
why did it
across the
stop
pit
right in the middle?
lane. He has obviously decided to not pit. I can see Sun is out. That's very, very weird as Wicked is in the pit. Expected. He will lose a few positions and Thakurva oxidized. Everyone has decided to stay out. Pradeep, he stays out. Yeah, I think no one else is going to pit. So Wicked Wiki could well be looking at P12, P13. Let's watch his
And
pit
he's come
exit.
out on a one lap old medium, so probably he was involved in all that lap one incidents, which made him go on the set of hards. So he'd be looking to take these mediums through to the end of the race.
That's quite interesting
I don't
because
know. I mean, I came in late. I don't know. Oh dear, as you said, the sun is out, so I have my doubts if it is going to rain at all. And I think, I don't know. Let's
Abhishek
see.
has already made his pit stop. He's on 16 lap old hards. The lap has 15 more, race has rather 15 more laps to go. Hards will not last that long, and even if he tries to conserve it, he'll be dead lost by the end of it. His rivals are in P8, Captain Sandhu right behind him on 7 laps hards. Sid Venkatesh P15 on fresh mediums.
Yep, that's an interesting call.
I don't know, maybe the rain is coming. Who knows? Sun is here just to tease us. Clouds are still there. One thing that I can and everyone can see.
Yep, I mean, it's just the weather is playing its un unpredictable games there. So let's see how much what happens. But yeah, as you were saying, I don't know what the session stood like earlier before the lobby restart. But if there is rain, then could these drivers have gone on a set of softs? Or is the
No.
rain very late in the race?
Yeah, I mean, the sun is out, so I don't think it's not coming for another 6, 7 laps. Even if I think at this stage we are on lap 22. Safety car should be in this lap, so 13, 14 laps of races. Looks like the rain, if it comes, will be for the maybe the last 2 or 3 laps, not more than that. But
That'll
yeah,
just be an interesting finish then on different tires, maybe drivers.
that's true. If that happens. Let's hope the rain to show up. But yes,
Yeah.
Abhishek's, I don't think he'll be pitting now. Pitting now would mean time loss. I mean, position loss, yes, but he'll be way behind the pack. So it's a very, very interesting call. I mean, he has already made his mandatory pit stop, so that's out of the window. But can he make these mediums, oh sorry, hards last all the way to the end? Interesting. Yes, Samad.
But
No one wants to drive your electrifying car. No one wants the curse or the blessing that you have in your excellent state.
but looking at Abhishek's situation, it's a very difficult one. So since he's on 17 lap old hards, I'm assuming he did 5 lap on those mediums. So if he would have come on a set of mediums, that would be like stretching those mediums for 20 laps, and he would have probably thought of taking that bet rather with the hards, as safety car is also in this lap.
Or maybe hards are too reliable, we don't know. But take
Yep.
away the easy start.
Alrighty, as I am on board with Raman right now, when does Redstone decide to go this time? He he has gone, and that was a neat restart from Redstone. But Thakurva is under attack from the other McLaren, and Raman is also thought on Redstone probably that extra straight line speed, but the McLaren of Oxidize has already made a move on Thakurva, and there are a lot of other drivers going side by side. Abhi looking to make a move, or rather Ace making a move on Abhi right there, and the two Williams are all there's the Alpine and the Williams that are going together. And Caesar, you might have to take it away from here. I'll just be right back.
All right, as Gaurav has gone off. I mean, not a bad restart as it was last time, as I may have spoken too soon, but Smith keeping away out of the dangerous part as these yellows already. No idea who this is for. The Ferrari of Thakurva. Oh, from P4, I believe. As he was overtaken by Oxidize, he's now down into P. Last is someone else. Someone crashed, right? Yeah, that's Moscow who's crashed. And that's once again another safety car. Welcome everyone to a safety car GP, third safety car in this race in 23 laps. So that's, what is it, 8 to 9 laps of racing in all of 23 laps. And yeah, hello Gaurav.
Oh, I just got off my seat and I see another safety car when I
Yes,
come
because
back.
you did not commentate properly at the restart, so game was like, let's have this back again while you do your business. So yes, safety car is back, third safety car of this race, and I mean, good thing for Oxidize. I mean, he spun, he had a moment, he's back up into third. Happy days for McLaren.
Yup, for a double podium right now as it stands, or even 1-2, considering Ramin has a penalty. So that'll be a really good result. Those McLaren boys have had a lot of pace, but not the best of luck on track through the course of the season. But redemption time right now, probably, and they've looked really very strong. Redstone, as much as he may be upset with those safety cars coming in again, but he'd be confident in himself that he would be able to pull away. There's nobody to really threaten him behind.
Yeah, I
But
think Redstone is quite confident with his setup on this track. So I think it will take an error from him alone, because we've seen two safety car restarts. He's been able to nail both of them, going out at the perfect time. So it has to be him. I mean, for it's his race to lose. As simple as that.
yep, it is. And Sid Venkatesh has come out on a set of softs. So
Interesting.
is he thinking the rain is coming early in the next 4-5 laps?
It's quite bright and
See,
sunny, to be honest.
yep. And it also takes a couple of laps after the rain has set in, where the inters might just be the faster tire.
His rivals are up in P6 and P9, judging by, I think Redstone made his pit stop on lap 15 or 14, or I think 15 when the safety car came out. Judging by that data, if I'm not wrong, softs can last 7 to 8 laps, and we have 11 laps to go. So he really, and Sid has pitted again. Okay, as we speak, Smith and Sid Venkatesh going on softs again. Okay, so they've decided that they do not need to pit again, and they'll take full advantage of the softs. Challenge here is that they have to, especially for Sid, they have to make way, through at least 8 to 9 cars for damage
Yep,
limitation.
that is.
From that position, I don't think he can win with Redstone pace as well.
Massive pileup of cars behind P7 to P10. Thankfully, the drivers have sorted themselves out. Plus, I don't know how it is like. So, if there is rain in the end, so what what's the best tire to be on? Like worn soft tires or worn hard tires or worn medium tires in those conditions?
I think safest bet would be to be on the mediums. I mean, speaking from the current tire life that the drivers are on as safety cars in this lap.
But Abhishek's, I know, we hope his gamble, let's see how far his gamble takes him, as Redstone Derp probably might look for a similar restart that he's been doing for the last couple of laps. He might just have gotten used to it as there are positions being exchanged right at the back of the grid, but Redstone hasn't gone. Ramen absolutely close to him, but Redstone does bolt, and the drivers behind the Mercedes of Hershey and Spandan the Gamer are pretty close, or rather both the Mercedes of Spandan the Gamer and Captain Sandhu exchanging positions right there. Probably team orders coming right into the picture as Mercedes would want to defend against the Ferrari of Abhishek. Side by side they were across the two corners, and Spandan the Gamer has lost a couple of more positions in that, so not sure what happened there. The game didn't really give me the best of angles as Sid Venkatesh is also making the most of those soft tires, and Smith for some reason had some kind of contact there at the back with Sid Venkatesh, which has forced him to go back into the pits. Meanwhile, Redstone Derp has pulled off a second from. Oh, Ramen has had a major moment which gives a free
No!
pass.
Oxidized!
As well has lost his car right there, so Hershey is back up into P2, and so is Ramen in P3 now, which is just reminiscent of the first part of this race. But Captain Sandhu would also look to make a move on Ramen, and but he also finds himself in an Alpine sandwich at the moment, so there'll be an attacking and defending for him to do, as Spandan the Gamer and the Ferrari of Abhishek are very close to each other. Spandan probably deploying all his battery that he can. Defending the middle of the track is Abhishek. Spandan looks to make a move around the outside. Both drivers just giving them just enough space. Does Spandan get the better drive on those 13 lap old hard tires? It's a drag race to the next corner, and side by side break, and around the outside is holds Abhishek, which becomes the inside for the next corner. That is some neat and clean racing, a good sight to watch between these two drivers, as Wicked Vicky is also hot at the Mercedes of Captain Sandhu, and Spandan the Gamer and URL Pradeep on those mediums is also pretty close to Spandan, but Spandan now has lost a bit of ground to the Ferrari ahead, as Sid Venkatesh making the most of those soft tires, has made up a few positions there. Caesar, off to you.
Yes, so taking a lot of advantage of those softs, unfortunately cannot be said of the same for Smith, who had to pit at the safety car restart. But yes, Redstone once again pulling up almost 3 seconds gap up in the front, so he's in the league of his own tonight. Sid Venkatesh into P10. He is technically in P9 at the moment with Ace's penalty, but yes, he has to make way as Ace broke a bit too deep. This should give him a very good switchback line and the traction, but I don't think he took full advantage of that. So Sid will stay into P10 for now, as Smith says the fastest lap time, who isn't having the best race this weekend. Elsewhere, yes, Spandan, who was battling the Ferrari quite well, I would say. I mean, there was no aggression shown from him, but I think a bit of aggression would have wanted from his teammate Sandhu, who would need to capitalize as much as possible, as Abhishek is 2 positions behind him and Sid Venkatesh down in P10. Captain Sandhu needs to preserve his championship lead going at the end of the race tonight, who is leading the championship by 9 points, and I think if things stays as they are, he will be extending that even more as he makes his move on the Wicked Wiki.
Yep, as Wicked Vicky. Oh, the Alpine of Ramen has had a major moment down at that penultimate corner, and Wicked Vicky and Captain Sandhu coming too close for comfort right there. Wicked Vicky looking for an ambitious move around the outside.
Rahman caught cutting the pit lane, but
reset to track. Oh, the pit lane.
Cutting the pit lane, unfortunately. But yes, we were on board with Pradeep and Sid Venkatesh already out of ERS.
Ace, contact between Ace and Pradeep there, and Sid wants to leverage everything that he can. Now is in a drag race with Ace. Now, can he brake later? He is late on the brakes. Ace gives him just about space on the inside. Is Sid Venkatesh who is sticking it down there? What a tricky hairpin corner. Sid has to back off there. Didn't have the best of lines for the corner entry. But he can see that red light flashing for Ace, so that might just be news for him. But
Yes,
on his dash, I don't think he himself has a lot of battery to contend with.
yeah, that was a very, very good race from Sid Venkatesh and Ace as well. But further up the field, Wicket Vicky is right on Sandhu's tail. And he should be making that move.
Yep, and Abhi, sorry, URL Pradeep losing a couple of positions there to Ace and Sid Venkatesh didn't have the best of corner entries down at the exit of the back straight, or that short back straight, but now Sid with that grip advantage with DRS pulls down on the inside on Ace and makes that move well before the braking zone.
Yeah, Ace is taking full advantage of those softs. Good for him, but I think his softs would be running out of steam maybe by the end of the next lap. 3 seconds gap to the car in front, to Spandan. So that gap we need to keep an eye out if he's closing that gap as quickly as he would like. Spandan, who's right behind Abhishek, he's not letting that Ferrari go off. Abhishek's obviously on 25 laps old horse. His struggle is really on the show here as Spandan is able to pressurize him. And I think this is going really well for the Mercedes, and especially for Captain Sandhu in defense of his championship lead at the moment.
Yep, as long as he has his championship rival behind him, he can still breathe easy for the next few races. I think 3 more races to go after this. Is it? As Thakurva and Oxidized Rage have had a moment together, or something did happen as I see on the track map. Not sure what happened there. Oh, but Oxidized Rage finding himself at the back of the grid after a good recovery there. Not the best of news for him.
Yeah,
And
one
the
thing
McLaren redemption story.
yeah, one thing I've noticed is Sid Venkatesh has able to close the gap, but it's not much. It's just 3/10, 4/10 from the last time we were on board with him. So softs are clearly and slowly running out of steam as Rahman is the fastest lap, but he's out of the point, so it won't count for anything. The train, the DRS train, Sid also obviously is unable to pull up a gap from the cars behind. So maybe by the end of next lap, Sid tires will be long gone.
Right, and I think if you see, if I look at the weather, it's pretty bright and sunny, so I don't think there's going to be any inter tires that might just come out in the race.
Yeah, I mean, I can look at the weather and I can also hear you speak. I mean, it's not just the weather that's bright, it's something that you're eating that's keeping you engaged.
Oh yeah, my apologies over there, but I'm just having a late dinner there, and
What's cooking?
just filling my tummies some khichdi. The
Okay, lost interest.
traditional
Lost
dal,
interest right there.
yeah, I'm on a tummy recovery phase right now, so not the best of meals for me right now.
Let's
But
get
yeah,
that.
now if I was Ace, I would look to rather that gap has rather opened up to from a second to 1.5, but I would rather try holding up and clawing back onto Sid and probably make a move on the final lap. But then there is a penalty also that Ace has to contend with, so that's not going to help his cause at all. But yeah, you are Pradeep and Avi, but I think on those 18 lap old mediums, they would be struggling as much as Sid would be on those 7 lap old softs.
Yes, and also coming back to the battle in the front, and by front I mean P2 and P3, battle for P2 rather. Hershey has a 6-second time penalty, so if things stays as they are, that will put him down into P5. So podium looks very promising for Sandhu as well. But for his, I mean, Spandan has a penalty as well, so I don't think Abhishek is going to finish behind the other Merc, but happy days for the Mercedes driver.
Yup, as Wicked Wiki now is pulling around on the inside of Hershey, side by side they go into turn one. Hershey breaks way later than Wicked Wiki, sticks onto the outside line. But Wicked Wiki with that double DRS, but both their red lights flashing. Does he have enough of that overspeed on Hershey? Goes down the inside, come fairly close for comfort, squeezes Hershey there at the apex of the next corner. And did Hershey? Oh, there's a yellow flag for the McLaren of Oxidize. Again, as Wicked Vicky has now just cleared himself in those couple of corners, and Hershey probably having
Yeah,
a
look,
bit of.
if I was there's a yellow, okay, that's Oxford. If I was Hershey and with that 6 seconds, I knew I'm going to lose a lot of position, so I would have just rather let him through, not lose time. But I think that wasn't a very smart move defending from Wicked Wiki, knowing that you have a 6 second time penalty, other driver does not have a single one.
Yep,
So
and
yes,
now
look,
he's lost the DRS as well. So whatever he could have pulled in those last 2, 3 odd laps, maybe he would have saved one position. Let's see. We'll find out how it works out for him, the
easy.
math. But Captain
Wow.
Sandhu now, I think Captain Sandhu and Hershey exchange those positions. So I think they are in the same party chat. So might as well let him take the advantage, I'm sure, and
This
try to hunt down that P2.
Yeah, this race is going to be interesting because Captain Sandhu is within the DRS of Wicked Wiki. So will he go for that P2? I mean, P2 is definitely on with 2 laps to go. Sandhu has shown really good pace, not obviously at the level of Redstone, who is 9.5 seconds in the front. So let's just forget about him for now. But yes, Sandhu has a real chance of scoring even more points tonight. This should be interesting. I mean, he would be looking to extend that lead even more, seeing that Abhishek is in the P5, but he will finish P4 eventually. But any additional points that he can score tonight is going to help him as Oxtraz has retired in the pits.
Yep, he's had enough of this race, and I think he's done probably 90% of the race, which will. Oh, anyway, it won't award him any points. There still are more than 12 runners in the race. As down into the penultimate lap, or is it? No, yep. Into the penultimate lap comes Redstone, Wicked Vicky, and Captain Sandhu. But Captain Sandhu, yes, he does have the DRS on him. Is a second behind Wicked Vicky.
His Mercedes teammate, meanwhile, going on the overtake, and he has completed that rather comfortably, and he will go. No, Abhishek deciding to fight it. I don't know why he wants to do that, considering the
Wants to,
Mercedes has a drive penalty. But that was not very smart
yeah.
from him. He could have spun, but no damage done.
Yep, as much as one would know he'd get the position on them, there's no point picking those battles, but and it's still as much as he is P6, but he might just come down just a position behind Captain Sandhu, and which just makes things very interesting for the last few races that we have for the rest for this season.
Yeah, and I think that's what's playing in Abhishek's mind. I mean, he can clearly see that Hershey has a 6 second penalty, so I really don't know. Maybe a brain fade moment to fight that position out, but okay, so Captain Sandhu won't have DRS going into the final lap. Further down the field, Abhi and Pradeep are fighting it out, and Pradeep going really deep. Abhi trying to switch back line. He will have the DRS. He has DRS in the tank to fight. Pradeep does not, so this should be an easy overtake for Abhi.
Yep, they should. He does have a lot of battery for this lap and has that enough speed as well as Pradeep is really a sitting duck down that straight without any battery as well. And
Yeah,
now with the double DRS, that's just reaffirmation of that overtake and that position for Avi.
Yep, and that's P9 sorted from him, unless obviously he gets a time penalty. But let's go on board with a driver who we haven't concentrated on except the safety car restart. Redstone, who has a dominant display in Mexico, who took pole, managed to keep his car in one piece, not binning it in the wall, just one more corner to go. Let's hope he doesn't do that. He takes the final corner. He won in Britain last time, and after scoring just 6 points since then, he has won the Mexican Grand Prix. Wicked Wiki, who has quite an interesting race, I would say, will round off P2. Captain Sandhu, who was down on the grid at one point of the race, finishes and completes the podium in P3. His teammate goes P4, but Abhishek take away that P4 away from him. A very good debut from Spandan, I would say, finishing P5 in the end. Sid Venkatesh, not a very good race. A good recovery, 1/10 behind Hershey in P7. Abhi and Pradeep, very good display of racing, just 1.5 tenths in front of Pradeep in P9. Ace 3 seconds behind in P10. Smith, after those million pit stops in P11. Rahman rounding off the points, finishing position in P12. Thakurwa doing the donuts. He's spun or doing a donuts, I have no clue. He will finish off in P13 with a drift.
Yep, those were fun donuts and a brilliant race there, full of and a very topsy-turvy race there. Let me just invite the podium finishers as well.
Yes, you do that while I run through the grid order after watching the podium celebration. Just looking at the points table, Redstone, after winning in Britain, in the 6 races he has raced, he scored 6 points, and that was all in one race. So he has had a lot of DNS in between, but this is a welcome return for him in the points, and obviously nothing better than winning the race as well. So this will do him and McLaren a lot of good. Let's just go to the grid order. Redstone winning the race, Wicked Wiki in P2, Sandhu in P3, Abhishek in P4, Spandan on his IRL debut in P5, Hershey P6, Sid Venkatesh on that 3-stop strategy along with Wicked Wiki. Sid Venkatesh finishes in P7, Abhi P8, Pradeep P9, A, Smith and Rahman in P10, 11, 12 respectively. Thakurwa, the last one to cross the line, oxidized after completing 90% of the race in P14. DNS, Mosquito, Rasam, Shrikant and Vintage Clea. So that has been quite an interesting race. I believe Redstone has joined the lobby.
Yeah,
just
and
waiting.
I'm assuming the other two are not really the ones who typically join the party, but I have sent them the invite. We can probably give them a couple of minutes, but let me just put it up on Discord as well.
I mean, while we wait for them, why not just start off with Redstone. Redstone, congratulations on
Thank you so much.
Yet another victory. This is third of the season, but third win coming after 6 races. The 6 races where you did not had the best of times.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming, so it's good to be back on the top step of the podium. So I'll take it. It's quite a nice race.
Your record from pole has not been too kind. And I can say it's not just you, it's just the McLaren curse that's on pole. Was that playing in your head?
Yeah, I mean, like, especially after every safety car that came out, I was like, holy shit. Because if you would have seen, even in the second safety car restart, when Sid was behind me, I had a huge snap. So yeah, it was going on in a loop in my mind. So I was just trying to not throw away the win, and somehow felt like started building confidence in the car lap after lap, and just it was a comfortable drive, to be honest.
Yeah, we did see that snap that you're talking about, and obviously for a second we were like, okay, here we go again. But you held it well, and yeah, I mean every safety car restart, I think you managed to floor the car at the right time and just kept the lead and then build up on it. Run us through your race. I mean, you quite literally dominated that race. So how much did you practice for it?
No, I did practice for the race. So like it was just for me, especially in this game, just getting the setup right. So I feel like I had a very good setup for the race, like softer springs, which like helped me a lot. during the race. And quali also was quite good. I think I outqualified everyone by like 7 tenths, but I still had like 3 more tenths on that lap and screwed up in the middle sector. So,
So
and
humble.
race has been like actually, to be honest, towards the end of the race, I was just trying to break that 10-second barrier just for fun because I was just bored and had nothing else to do. So it was a
I'm
fun
I'm
race.
I'm
I
getting
really
that
enjoyed
Max
that.
Verstappen vibes here. Like I was in front, I was bored. What can I do? Okay, let's try to break that 10-second barrier.
Yeah.
All right, man. Gaurav, if you have anything to ask.
Yeah, I mean, great race, first of all, Redstone, and that safety car restart has really turned things around for you now for the better. But how were your emotions then every time you build a gap to the ones behind and there's a safety car that comes out? Were you
Like
still easy or was it for
I,
you?
I mean, it really wasn't like concerning because I knew I had the pace to pull away. I've seen that like in the first safety car as well. So I was just trying deploying everything at the restart so I can get free like clean air and just pull away after that. So that was my goal, to be honest. Like the 3 moments I had, like a cause of concern was behind the safety cars. So I'm glad I got through that. Hopefully that stays that way for the remaining
Yeah.
races.
Great drive there, Redstone. Congratulations on that victory and good point scored.
Yeah, you can now drive, without any pressure. Since I don't know if you noticed, but I'll just break it to you. You are not in the running for the championship because there are only
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
104 points available. You were 120 behind the leaders.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that was the relief that you were driving on. Maybe you noticed it. Maybe if you haven't, maybe the remaining 3 races you'll be able to drive like that.
I mean, to
So
be honest, I wasn't too concerned about the championship standings or anything. Today, it was just a matter of doing it for myself because I've had horrible races and the last 2, 3 races I missed, I think. So I just wanted to have a good race and just like feel good about myself more than anything. So I'll take it. It's a
That
great
that's a
moment for me.
that's a good result. Congratulations once again. So do we have anyone else who joined the lobby, Gaurav?
I don't think, I don't
Okay, so
think
we,
nobody
we
yet.
can we can
Anybody?
wrap it up here. So this has been round 13 of season 8 of IRL. This is Caesar bringing in all the action. Obviously, we missed Collie as the stream started late. So if anyone from the division can share the Collie result, very appreciated. And thank you, Gaurav, for giving me company. Always good to have someone in the com box while they're chewing on the
Yep,
dinner.
yep, and not the best of dinners. And thanks, Caesar. I enjoyed the commentary and the race all along. It was fun.
Yes, so we'll see you tomorrow for divisional race in Mexico again, and hopefully that will be as interesting as Division 2. So Caesar along with Easy Level Bot and the race winner Redstone Derp, it's good night.
Good night.